Hello and welcome. This is going to be a quick tutorial walkthrough of how to take a backup of a Allen Bradley PLC program to your laptop or computer. The first thing you want to do is make sure that you set your IP address on your computer or laptop. We need to make sure that our IP address is on the same network as the PLC that we're going to connect to make sure that we have communication, but that we're not going to cause any problems with anything else that the PLC or network might be connected to. So your first step is going to be to go down and set up your IP address. Now, if you're connected to Wi-Fi, you'll see your Wi-Fi down here. If you're not connected to Ethernet or you're not connected to internet at all, it might look different. It might look like a globe icon. But this is your internet connection down here. If you just right click and go into network and internet settings. This will bring up your internet settings, and somewhere down here you will see change adapter options. That's what we're looking for. So we can click here on change adapter options and it will bring up all of your network adapters. Now I have quite a few network adapters here. Yours will probably be much less. What you're looking for is your main Ethernet connection. And you'll see we have our Wi-Fi and such here and some other virtual ones going. You'll have your Bluetooth as well. What you're looking for is this one right here, just your main Ethernet. So if we double click on this, or you can right click and go to properties, it will bring open your Ethernet properties. What you need to make sure is we want to go to this Internet Protocol version 4. This is the one we want. There's a couple different ones down here, IPv4 and 6. We don't want 6. We want to connect here to Internet Protocol version 4. You can either double click on it or click on properties. And this is your IP address. Now the important thing to remember is the first three numbers here, the 192.168.1, is the network. The last number is going to be your port. You want to make sure that that is going to be different. So if we're connecting to a PLC that's on, say, 192.168.1.10, or the standard Allen Bradley connection 192.168.1.101, we want to make sure that the first three numbers are going to be the same and the last numbers are going to be different. So I tend to use 50. That's what I normally use. So we'll show you this blanked out. We're going to make sure that we select here, use the following IP address. We do not want it to be set to obtain. If you see that, you'll notice these are grayed out because you can't select them. So select use following IP address, and we'll go here. We're going to put in 192.168.1.50. Now the subnet mask below it, if we just hit tab, it's going to automatically default to this 255.255.255.0. And that's what we want to use in most cases. Unless they tell you otherwise, or unless you know otherwise, this is going to be the subnet you use. There shouldn't usually be a lot of cases where that's going to be different. So we're just going to go ahead and push OK, and that'll be done. Close this out. What I like to tend to do is you can just go back in here and just double check, make sure that it actually took your changes here. And there we are. Push OK, and now we can close. Next thing we want to do, I already have it connected, but we want to make sure that we connect our Ethernet cable. So you're going to connect your Ethernet cable from your laptop Ethernet to the PLC. Now you may have a network switch in between, or you may not. It's totally up to you, but if you're having issues connecting, one good tip or troubleshoot is just to connect directly from your laptop to the PLC port, just to eliminate any other possibilities of issues. Bad network, bad port, something like that. So if you're having issues, just connect directly to the PLC. Make sure that you set your IP address first. Okay, next step is to make sure that we have communication between the PLC and the laptop. There's a couple ways we can do this. We're going to be most familiar with using RsLogix, which I have here. We'll bring this up. and I have it currently connected to a PLC. So these are all your different driver connections. You should already have this set up. Your Ethernet connection should be here. If for some reason it's not here, you can go here to configure drivers and you can see your drivers. It may be stopped or it may not be there at all. If it's a brand new setup, if you haven't set this up before, you'll have to go here and pick a new driver. You want to go Ethernet IP drivers and you click add new. Give it a name, and it will also ask you to set your Ethernet adapter, which it's really easy once you have your Ethernet set because you can see it right here. But this is your main Ethernet connection. We can click OK or apply, and we'll see it added this driver down here. Now we're already set up, so we don't need that. So I'm going to go ahead and stop and delete that. And there we go. And now it's removed. So this is my Ethernet driver. You'll notice it shows the devices over here, or if you open it, it will show your devices. Now, this may be pretty common. You may have quite a few old nodes here that are no longer connected from past devices you connected to. And like I do, you have past devices and they're all X'd out. So the one you're looking for is pretty obviously the one that's not X'd out. That's the one that we actually still have communication. And we can verify this by opening up these different ports here, and you can see all the connections. Now, you'll typically see IO cards listed here as well. I don't really have any IO cards in this thing. So that's what we see. And here is our IP address for the PLC. It is an L33ER, that's what we're connected to, and this is the address. The next thing we can do, if something is wrong, if this is not reading correctly, RsLogix is not picking it up or something, we can also attempt to ping the device address. So what we can do here, I already have it up, but you can just go to your start menu and search for CMD or command prompt. You want to make sure you run it as administrator and start that up. Now here you kind of have to know your IP address, which is our 101 here. But basically what we want to do is we're literally just going to run a ping at the address of 192.168.1.101. And as long as everything is correct here, you have ping, one single space, and then the IP address of the PLC you want to connect to. Hit enter, and you'll see replies. And it'll happen 4 times. You get 4 replies, and you make sure that shows you have good connection. Just for a quick thing here, if we go ahead and disconnect the cable, give it a second here, and we will try another ping, and you will notice the difference here. Quick tip, if you just push the up arrow, it'll input your last command. You can try the ping again, and this is what we get. It takes much longer, and then it says destination host unreachable. That tells you that you have no connection. So maybe your cord came unplugged like we did, or maybe you have some other issue. So up here is what we want to see. We want to see reply, the amount of bytes that were sent, and the time, milliseconds. That's that. So we can close that out. We'll reconnect. Once we have that connected, the next step is to open up RsLogix or Studio, depending on the device you're connecting to. I already have RsLogix open, so that is here, just because it takes a second to open. So you'll open up RsLogix, this is what you're going to get. Now it's important to note, when you open up RsLogix and you do not have a program loaded, this is where you want to be. This is how you want to be set up. You want to make sure before you try to do a backup, you do not have a program opened. If you have a program open, it just makes things more confusing and it could cause issues. You don't want to accidentally load a program or download a program into the PLC. So the next step is you want to go ahead and communicate with the PLC. We'll go here to communications and we'll go to who's active. We'll go right here, and again, this has already opened our Ethernet and it's already on our device here. So we're going to go ahead and select this device. Now, depending on the device, some older devices, how you're connecting to it, you may have to open this up and find the processor. But either way, on this style, on the L33s, this top section here is the processor as well, or you can go here, which is also the processor. It's the device that actually says the device name of the processor, the L33. So now we have a couple of options. Now you'll notice without a program in here, we don't have a download or update firmware option. And that's because there's no program. So there's nothing for us to download into the PLC. So it's important to remember that when you're going between your laptop or computer and a PLC program, you can upload or download. Upload is going from the PLC to your laptop, up to your laptop. And download goes from your laptop down to the PLC. So that's why we can't download, because we don't have a program to download. But we can upload whatever's in the PLC to the laptop, which is what we're trying to do. So we're going to go ahead and go to upload or go online. Either way will work fine. You can click upload. And it's going to take some time here. Okay, we now see it's connecting. It's creating the project. So what this is going to do is literally take a copy of the PLC program and create a local project. So it's going to give you this option, connect to upload, and it's going to ask you to select a file. Now, you're going to go to select a file, and you're going to decide where you'd like to put this program. So for right now, I'm literally just going to put it on the desktop. I recommend you probably put it in a jobs folder with the job name or something like that, so that you have reference to it, because as you can see, the file name doesn't always, sometimes it will include information on where it came from, but sometimes it can be very hard to decipher. So we're going to go ahead and put it on the desktop, and this is the file name. Generally speaking, we don't want to change the file name, just so we always have reference back to it. So we'll keep the file name the same, and we'll select the desktop where we want to save it. And we can actually even see here on the desktop, it's already starting to do that. And it says create project file and upload. And we want to click yes. We are going to actually make a copy locally on our laptop. This will also take a few seconds, minutes. Okay, and that completed. You can see actually now we are connected to the controller right now. We can even see the status of it. You can see it's in run mode. So the next step is, once we've done here, we want to just basically disconnect. So we're going to go offline, communications, go offline. We want to make sure we do this before we ever disconnect Ethernet cable or anything like that. We don't want to cause any problems with the program that's currently in the PLC. So now we're safe. This is just a local file that's on your laptop. And you can actually see it's right here. And it usually takes two backups of it. One backup and one personal backup of it. So this is the file. This is what it looks like. And that's pretty much done. Like I said, you can move it into a folder or whatnot and keep it organized. The next little thing I just wanted to show you real quick is if we go back in here, again, go back to our who's active or who active, we will see now that we have a program opened, that download and update firmware is available. And this is why it can get kind of dicey. Because if, for instance, we accidentally, while we're still connected to the Ethernet, if we click download here, it's going to take this program and it's going to download it into the PLC, which can cause a number of issues. Number one, it may be running right now. We don't want to affect anything while it's in operation. The number one important thing is if you ever need to download a program into the boiler or PLC program, is we make sure that it's not running. We don't want to do that while it's running, cause any kind of issue. We shut that unit down, make sure it's isolated and there's nothing that's going to cause a problem, and then we will load it. And like I said, right now we're just taking a backup, so we definitely don't want to download anything. So that's why we always want to make sure that we're not have an open program while we're doing this. So that's just a little, so we'll close this back up and we can actually close this down now. And here is our files. Like I said, if we wanted to create a new folder, and we can even put the job name on here. Job name. And we can put these in there. And so now we have a job name and we have these files in there. Now, if we wanted to ever open it up to look at it or to download it, we can literally just double click and it will open RsLogix. And that's pretty much it. So like I said, it's pretty simple, straightforward. The video is kind of long, just, wanted to show a few things. But main things are just make sure that you set your IP address before you connect to anything, so you don't cause any communication problems for the customer or anything. And then just make sure you check communication and double, triple check what you're doing, whether you're uploading or downloading the program, and just make sure that you're doing it correctly so you don't cause any issues. And that's pretty much it.